वे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान सह गणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलं शुकमुखादमृतद्रवसंयुतं पिबत भागवतं रसमालयं मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः नष्टप्रायेष्व भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। सर्वस्य चाहं हृदि सन्निविष्टो मतस्मृतिज्ञानमापोहनं च वेदैश्च सर्वैरहमेव वेद्यो वेदान्तकृद्वेदविदेव चाहम्। हरे कृष्ण। सर्वशास्त्राभिपीयूष सर्ववेदैकसत्त्वला सर्वसिद्धान्तरत्नाद्य सर्वलोकैकदिक्प्रदा सर्वभागवता प्राणा श्रीमद्भागवत प्रभु कलिद्वन्द्वोदितादित्या श्रीकृष्णा परिवर्तिता परमानन्दपाठाय प्रेमवर्षि ते सर्वदा सर्वसेव्याय श्रीकृष्णाय नमोऽस्तु मे। मदेकबन्धु मत्सङ्गिन् मद्गुरु मन्महादना मन्निष्ठारकमद्भाग्या मदानन्द नमोऽस्तु ते। असाधु साधु तादायीन्नति नीचोचताकरा हानमुञ्चा कदाचिन्मां प्रेम्ण हृत्कण्ठयो स्फुरा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. Welcome all to this morning session of Srimad Bhagavatam. Very happy to be back in your association. As I always say that I'm taking up this seva for the pleasure of the Lord and for my own purification. See, like, there are birds, there are some birds who can fly to a great height, and there are some birds who cannot fly at all. They just remain on the ground. So everybody has their own capacity. So similarly, I, according to my own capacity and my own understanding, whatever I have learned, I will share it with you all. If there are any shortcomings, please forgive me and correct me. If there are anything good which you can take away, that is all because of the mercy of my spiritual master, as well as Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. So with that, we start this session. I share the screen. Okay. So we are in the fourth canto, creation of the fourth order. chapter number 28. Puranjana becomes a woman in the next life. So, this is the story, an allegorical story. So, who is telling this story and to whom? Who is telling this story?
Narada to Prachina Bari.
Narada to
Prachina
Prachina
Bari.
Bari. Who is Prachina Bari? And why Narada is telling this story to Prachina Bari? Is this a real story?
No, it is allegorical story.
Allegorical story. So why did Narad Muni feel the need to tell this story to Prachina Bari?
Even though
He was so much into sense gratification, Mataji, fruitive
Yeah.
activities.
Mataji, he
Yes.
was actually a very good person, but he was spending most of his time in sacrifice and all that, karmic activities. So, Narada Muni wants.
Yeah. He had told his son to take up the grahastha, but then they said before that, let us take some lesson on the spiritual activity. And there they get instructions from whom did they get instruction? The Prachetas.
Lord Shiva.
Lord Shiva, right?
Lord
Yeah.
Shiva.
So after that, they became realized, but then the father was too much involved in ritualistic activities. So to bring if somebody is too much engaged in certain activity, and if you tell them not to do that, they will not listen, right? There will be negation. So that is why Narad Muni, being understanding that he is a very good person, and if he is given some understanding, he will realize it. So he came and he instructed him, but he did not immediately tell him to stop his activities. Instead, to make him realize, he told him an allegorical story where he tells him about a king Puranjana. This king is similarly like Prachina Bari, who is also engaged in sense enjoyment and sense gratification. So, what does this King Puranjana represents in reality?
The body, Mataji.
The living entities, Mataji.
Yeah, the living entity means, is it the body or the soul?
Soul.
Soul, yeah. Yeah, so we understand that Puranjana, this king Puranjana is the soul, and this Puranjana, he wanted to enjoy. Therefore, he was looking out for places where he would be happy. And in that due course, he came across this woman, this beautiful woman, and this woman was without lotus. They are saying, what does it represent? Why did it say that this woman is without the lotus flower? She's described, her beauty was described, and it is said that but she was not holding a lotus flower. And then she had 10 servants, and then and there was a guard, a serpent with 5 hoods, who was protecting her. So who is this woman?
She
And
is
why
the
it is?
Hare Krishna.
Mm.
Sorry, Mataji.
Yeah, tell.
Mataji, she is the material intelligence.
Mm. And what does this for 10 servants represent?
The 10 senses.
And yeah, and the snake with 5 hood.
Five senses.
Life airs that
The
protect
life air that maintains this body, right? So it is that intelligence with our 5 working and 5 knowledge acquiring senses, and the pranavayu, various kinds of air that is maintaining this life of ours. So this she comes and he gets attracted, and she is without the lotus. So what does this represent?
So material intelligence, when you don't have Krishna in your life. So it's
Yeah, it is not that she was so beautiful that don't misunderstand it as some goddess. It's Lakshmi. She is Maya. She is the intelligence who is trying to entrap the soul because the soul wants to enjoy. So he is using his material intelligence, and then he asked her that who are you? So she said, what is there in name? Even I am in search of a husband. You marry me, and then I'll make you happy. And then she takes him to a city of 9 gates, which represents our
Body.
body.
Our body.
Yeah.
material body.
Yeah, this body. So the soul gets entrapped into this body and they enjoy. And he is enjoying with his wife. And then over a due course of time, there is an enemy. Who is that enemy?
Vega.
Huh?
Vega.
I didn't understand.
Chanda
Little
Vega
louder,
Niyam.
Mataji.
Chanda Vega.
Chandavega.
Time, Mataji.
Time.
Kalakanya Mataji.
Kalakanya, yeah. So we see that over a period of time, the body becomes very weak and old. That is, the enemy is the Kalakanya, right? And then the serpent becomes weak. The life air, the air, which is five kinds of air in the body, they are no longer able to protect us. And this body is becoming weak, unable to protect us. The soul is pulled away from this body and it is put into another body, and the other body which we get, it depends upon our thinking at the time of the death. So this King Puranjana, he is attached to his wife. He becomes old over a period of time, and then the body is unable to protect, attacked by the enemy, the time, and he leaves his body. And but at the time of his death, he is thinking about his wife, and thus he gets another life, and that is in the body of a woman. And who is she?
Darbi.
Vaidarbi.
Vaidharbi.
Vaidarbi, the daughter of King Vidarbha. So this is how we have to understand that when we are attached to this body and at the time of our death, whatever we remembers, accordingly we take birth into that body. And thus now we will see how further Puranjana, becoming a woman in the next life, does he gets liberation? And does this story help Prachina Bari to get liberation? That is what we are going to understand in the further chapters of Srimad Bhagavatam. So here Puranjana becomes a woman in the next life, and we will be completing, going through 4 verses, 50, 51, 52, and 53. So here we see that, and this she marries, whom does she marry? She becomes the daughter of King Vidarbha, Malaydwaja. And Malaydwaja, was he a devotee?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes. Yes. So she comes in contact with this devotee, and then it is said that over a period of time, Malaydwaja, he passes away, and then she is lamenting over his death. And this is where we have reached so far. So the verse says that Chittim Darumayim Chitva Tasyam Patyu Kalevaram Adipya Chanumarene Vilapanti Manodade. Yeah, one Mataji can read the verse.
Mataji, do you want us to read the purport also?
Yes, the verse, translation and purport.
Okay, Mataji. Archana Mataji, you can read the verse and translation.
Hare Krishna, Pranam Mataji. Chidindaro mayim chitva tasyam patyu kalevaram adipya chanu marane vilapandi manodade. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. She then prepared a blazing fire with firewood and placed the dead body of her husband upon it. When this was finished, she lamented severely and prepared herself to perish in the fire with her husband. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Shobha Mataji, you can read the purport.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Matajis and Prabhujis. Purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. It's purport number 50, right? Okay.
Yes,
It
Mataji.
is the long-standing tradition of the Vedic system that a faithful wife dies along with her husband. This is called Sahamarana. In India, this system was prevalent even to the date of British occupation. At that time, however, a wife who did not wish to die with her husband was sometimes forced to do so by her relatives. Formerly, that was not the case. The wife used to enter the fire voluntarily. The British government stopped this practice, considering it inhuman. However, from the early history of India, we find that when Maharaja Pandu dies, he was survived by two wives, Madri and Kunti. The question was whether both should die or one should die. After the death of Maharaja Pandu, his wife settled that one should remain and the other should go. Madri would perish with her husband in the fire, and Kunti would remain to take charge of the five Pandava children. Even at the even as late as 1936, we saw a devoted wife voluntarily enter the fire of her husband. This indicates that a devotee's wife must be prepared to act in such a way. Similarly, a devoted disciple of the spiritual master would rather die with the spiritual master than fail to execute the spiritual master's mission. As the supreme personality of Godhead comes down upon this earth to re establish the principles of religion, so his representatives, the spiritual masters, also come to re establish religious principles. It is the duty of the disciple to take charge of the mission of spiritual master and execute it properly. Otherwise, the disciple would decide to die along with the spiritual master. In other words, to execute the will of the spiritual master, the disciple should be prepared to lay down his life and abandon all personal considerations. Hari Bol, Hare Krishna
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mataji. So after reading this purport, we would feel that, oh, should we die? Should we take up this? So we will understand. That is why it is said that never we should read alone, and always it should be read in the association of the devotees, right? So here, this text, it is speaking about the Vedic practice of Sahamarana, right? A devoted wife would voluntarily enter into the funeral fire of her husband. Then we will understand what is, because this is just a figurative, so we should understand what it literally means. So the purport says that the practice was there initially in the ancient times, but then later on it was considered as inhuman by the British and they stopped it. But then historically they are giving an example of Kunti Maharani and Madri, where both of them were deciding, but then Kunti Maharani stayed back to look after the children, and Madri took up Sati. So then later on, an analogy, Prabhupada gives an analogy about a spiritual master, how the disciple should die. It is written, right? So let us understand what it means. Should we really die? And what does this practice actually means, right? So here it says that it is, whatever it is said, it is actually symbolic and it has got a devotional meaning. It is not dying, it is the devotion, that how much devotion the wife had towards, the loyalty that wife had towards her husband. So it is that we must not literally die, but we must completely be committed to the principles, the spiritual principles. So the comparison here given is just figurative. Okay, figurative means sometimes we say, I really nearly died doing that work. I will die, but I will do this work. But that does not really means that we are going to die. That means that we are going to take the full effort and we will go to its depth and try to do it. We become committed and dedicated to that particular thing. So here devotion, when we say that, it means loyalty. How loyal we are towards the principles, how much sacrifice we do to achieve that principle, and how determined we are to do that. It is not about physical harm, right? So it is this disciples' responsibility to continue the mission of their spiritual master and preserve his teaching, right? For that they have to kill their material desires and follow the instruction of their guru. That is what is Prabhupada is telling here through this. He gives us three spiritual lessons in this chapter, in this verse. That is, we have to we should understand the intensity and the purity of loyalty in our Vedic culture. That how much loyal that wife was towards her husband, that she did not have anything beyond it, right? Even if she takes up sati during that time, she does not feel the pain of that heat because she was so much with her loyal to her husband. But over a period of time, this evolved, right? Spiritually, when we see that intensity and purity in loyalty we should have towards the instructions of the spiritual master. Every yuga has its own yuga dharma. So we are in this material world, in this Kali Yuga, we have to follow the yuga dharma of this particular yuga. So when we say that the disciples are so committed to the spiritual advancement, means we should be ready to die to give up our material desire. Our material desire should die. We should sacrifice our ego, our comfort, our laziness, and we should take the responsibility of the Guru's mission. That is what it says. It is not the physical death, but it is the spiritual seriousness that we have to understand. It teaches us the mission of the spiritual master. It must continue. If the guru leaves, like the guru, Srila Prabhupada's guru just gave him the instruction, you go to the west. So he took every measures to fulfill that. His health was weak. He was aged. When he traveled, he got 3 attacks, but that did not deter him from going ahead to fulfill his spiritual master's advice or his instruction, or right. So this we should carry the mission forward at any cost. This reflects his mood because he himself risked his life to fulfill his guru's advice. In simple words, this purport describe, or the purport says that it is not the physical act of dying, but it glorifies commitment towards the principles, loyalty towards our guru. For a wife, her husband is a guru, her loyalty towards her guru, and the responsibility towards the guru. The seriousness in our spiritual life, and protecting and preserving and spreading the guru's instruction. That is the understanding, and that is what Prabhupada intend to say from this purport. Hope that is clear. Haribol.
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
Yes,
So what do we understand from this verse? So what are we supposed to do?
So, Mataji,
Sorry.
Suma Mataji.
Sorry, Mataji.
Loyalty towards our spiritual master.
How will we express that loyalty
As a
towards our
disciple, we'll
spiritual
have to,
master?
Mataji, to his
go
instructions,
according to
Mataji, they are the great.
by following his instructions,
Following
and
the
we should
Yeah.
carry forward to
By
carry
carrying
forward
forward
this
his
mission.
mission.
We should be very
Yes.
serious.
Yes, we
And
should
we
be
and
seriously
remain
take up our
committed.
spiritual path. It is not
And
that we are not following, we should follow the 4 regulative principles, right? Follow the instruction. For this yoga, it is chanting the holy names. So we should take up the seriously the chanting of the holy names. That is the only way where we can get out of this material world. So all these instructions through Puranjana, Narad Muni was telling to Prachina Bari only to get him out of the material engagements and to make him self-realized so that he can go back to Godhead. Fine. So further, we go on to the 51st verse. Yeah,
Mataji,
somebody can read. Yes, Mataji.
we must also try to kill our material desires. We should not go on with that and remain committed towards the Guru. In addition, Mataji.
Can you tell little louder, Mataji?
I said, Mataji, furthermore, we must kill our material desires and remain committed towards the Guru and show loyalty
Yes.
to carry forward his instructions.
Yeah. So killing our material desires, it should mean not that we may become too fanatic in that matter, but all our activities which we do, we should dovetail it into Krishna consciousness. Do so then we will take up activities which will really Krishna will like it. It will help in our purification. Right? So that is how we have to understand. Yeah.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you.
The next verse.
Anita Mataji, you could read the verse and the translation, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Tatra purvataraha kaschit sakha brahmana atmavan santvayan valguna sam.
Hello, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Yeah.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Yeah, translation. My dear king, one Brahmana, who was an old friend of King Puranjana, came to that place and began to pacify the queen with sweet words. Hare Krishna.
Shilpa Mataji, you can read the purport.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The appearance of an old friend in the form of a Brahmana is very significant. In his Paramatma feature, Krishna is the old friend of everyone. According to Vedic injunction, Krishna is sitting with the living entity side by side. According to the Shruti mantra, Dva Suparna Sayajya Sayujya Sakhyaha. The Lord is sitting within the heart of every living entity as Shruta, the best friend. Suhrita, the best friend. The Lord is always eager to have the living entity come home back to Godhead. Sitting with the living entity as witness, the Lord gives him all chances to enjoy himself materially. But whenever there is an opportunity, the Lord gives good counsel and advises the living entity to abandon trying to become happy through material adjustment and instead turn his face towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead and surrender unto Him. When one becomes serious to follow the mission of the spiritual master, his resolution is tantamount to seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As explained before, this means meeting the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the instruction of the Supreme Spiritual Master. This is technically called Vani Seva. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur states in his Bhagavad Gita commentary on the verse Vyavasayatmika Buddhir Ekeha Kurunandana, Bhagavad Gita 2.41, that one should serve the words of the spiritual master. The disciple must stick to whatever the spiritual master orders. Simply by following on that line, one sees the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Mataji, anybody else wants to read?
Yeah, it's
No,
fine. No
Mataji, you can
problem.
continue,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna, Hare Krishna. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Paramatma, appeared before the Queen as a Brahman, but why didn't he appear in his original form as Sri Krishna? Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur remarks that unless one is very highly elevated in loving the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one cannot see him as he is. Nonetheless, if one sticks to the principles enunciated by the spiritual master, somehow or other he is in association with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Since the Lord is in the heart, he can advise a sincere disciple from within. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 10.10. Tesham satita yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mama upayanti te. To those who are constantly devoted and worship me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. In conclusion, if a disciple is very serious to execute the mission of the spiritual master, he immediately associates with the Supreme Personality of Godhead by Vani and Vapu. This is the only secret of success in seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Instead of being eager to see the Lord in some bush of Vrindavan, while at the same time engaging in sense gratification, if one instead sticks to the principle of following the words of the spiritual master, he will see the Supreme Lord without difficulty. Srila Bilva Mangal Thakur has therefore said, Bhakti Tyadvaji Sthira Tara Bhagavan Yadi Syad दैवेन नः फलति दिव्य किशोर मूर्तिः मुक्तिः स्वयं मुकुलितञ्जलि सेवते स्मान् धर्मात्मा धर्मात्मा कामगतः समय प्रतीक्षः प्रतीक्षः. If I am engaged in devotional service unto you, my dear Lord, then very easily can I perceive your presence everywhere. And as far as liberation is concerned, I think that liberation stands at my door with folded hands waiting to serve me, and all material conveniences of dharma, religiosity, artha, economic development, and karma, sense gratification stand with her. Krishna Karnamrita 107. If one is very highly advanced in devotional service, he will have no difficulty in seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If one engages in the service of the spiritual master, he not only sees the Supreme Personality of Godhead but attains liberation. As far as material conveniences are concerned, they automatically come, just as the maid servants of a queen follow the queen wherever she goes. Liberation is no problem for the pure devotee, and all material conveniences are simply awaiting him at all stages of life. Hare Krishna. Thank you,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. That was a very big purport, but still we have to read the purport because that is where we get the understanding. So we see that Vidarbhi, she is crying at the death of her husband, Malayadwaja, and that time there is a Brahmana who comes. So here it is said that this old friend actually represents Paramatma, Krishna in the heart. Krishna is there with every soul as his best friend and always advising him and guiding us to take us back to Godhead. But how does Krishna appear? Right? Krishna appear as a, he cannot appear in his original form, right? To everyone. Right, you have to do even in our material activities also. Right, the prime minister or the president does not meet anyone. But if you do something very unusual or very audible, that is when you are awarded, and during the ceremony they personally come and they greet you. Correct. So then, how do you expect Krishna, the great personality, to come when you are not following the instruction? Right. So he does not come. But yes, there are people who he sends to instruct us, and by following that, they are the representative of Krishna. So he will guide us through the spiritual master. And we can, following his instruction, Vani Seva, we can perceive Krishna. The internal inspiration. So Krishna is now, though Krishna is there with us throughout, right? Even even our relatives, our friends do not accompany us. They will be there in this birth, but not from the previous birth. But even before the creation, Krishna is there with us. So even now he is there. Internally, he is guiding us as Chaitya Guru, and externally as our Diksha Guru, Diksha Guru. So that is how getting a good counsel, a right advice, it is also the mercy of the Krishna. That is what we have to understand. So here, if a disciple is sincerely following the spiritual master, that means he is associating with Krishna, right? So he will dadami buddhi yogam tam. That is how, when you are getting the correct intelligence to do the right activity, that means it is the mercy of the Krishna, right? So a pure devotee who serves the Lord steadily, he will get spiritual direct realization. That realization which you get, that is the mercy of Krishna. You get liberation and all the necessities. Bilva Mangala Thakura is telling, right? Whatever you need, you just do your activity. Like, for example, in the material activity, you see, you are whatever position you are a doctor, you are an engineer, you are whatever you are, you do your work properly. Right? You do it with great concentration, with great loyalty. Right? You do. And in the end, what you get your salary, and for your work you get an increment. And when you get that salary, whatever requirements you want in your life, automatically they come it, right? There is no need to for. Similarly, you do that is in the giving you an example with material aspect, but here spiritually also, when we follow the instructions of the Guru, when we follow it with determination, with responsibility, and with loyalty, we will get the instructions by the given by the Chaitya Guru, who is Paramatma, is through the intelligence, who is guiding us. Do this in a right way. So Prabhupada is intent in this purport is that Krishna is our friend and our guide. He is there as Paramatma. He is guiding us. He is witnessing us. He is reminding us. And he is giving us the intelligence. So he awaits for the soul, to listen to him, to listen to his advice, not take decision according to their whims. Right? So spiritual master is practically the mercy of Krishna. Krishna Guru's instruction is Krishna's instruction. Serving the Guru is like seeing Krishna, and following the Guru's order should be the life and soul of a devotee, and thus eventually he will get liberation. So then Prabhupada is telling that the moment you take up the sadhana, don't be that I want to see Krishna in Vrindavan. No, there is a reason behind it. He is not preventing you from realizing it, because you have to achieve. Immediately you cannot achieve PhD, right? You have to undergo the primary, secondary school, higher secondary, take up degree, post graduation, and then go to the higher level. Then you will, right? Otherwise, you will misunderstand. You will commit offenses, right? So that is why it is said that Don't try to see it, whatever level you are, whatever is your understanding, try to perceive that rather than try to achieve something which is beyond. Don't seek mystical vision and don't run after spiritual shortcut. Liberation, that is what Bilva Mangala Thakura is telling, right? You do, if I am doing my service properly, Mukti, liberation will be standing at the doorstep. All the Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, they are waiting there for you to bear. It is just like a queen, you know. She is there and she has a servant with everything, pleasures for her. There is nothing the queen asks for. But whenever the time comes, the maids, they will come and give it to her. So that is how we have to understand. You do the devotion properly, everything fall in its place. So in one line to understand this verse is serve your spiritual master sincerely. You will always be in Krishna's presence, externally and internally through the instructions, externally, internally through the Paramatma. So this is what Bilva Mangala Thakura is telling. If my devotion is steady and strong, he is telling, he is praying, is telling, then your beautiful form will be revealed. So how will that be revealed to us when we do our devotion properly? What is the understanding? If you do your devotion properly, how will that be revealed to us?
All the qualities that the Krishna likes will manifest in us, Mataji. We will be calmer. I mean,
Anybody else? Here it said that if my devotion is steady and strong, your beautiful youthful form automatically manifests in our heart. So for us, we condition soul. When we are doing little, we get
peace, Mataji. Then we understand.
For that understanding, we should have that
realizations.
Anybody else? To realize also, we should have that power. What is that? Who is this lady?
Shravanam. Anusuya Mataji, non-envious.
Who is this lady whom Puranjana means?
Intelligence, Mataji.
Intelligence. So for us, how it is the remembrance and the intelligence, to understanding. That is how that understanding, which when there are certain things when we say this, some understand it, there are so many people who does not understand it, and then they try to contradict it, and then they will there is a argument for it, right? So it is a satatam
Kirtayantoma.
Can you say that?
Satatam kirtayantoma yatantascha dradavrata. I'm sorry.
What is 10.10 of Bhagavad
Yogena?
The 10.10 of Bhagavad Gita.
Satata-yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam ena mamupayanti.
Dadami buddhi yogam tam. Right? When you do the devotional service, satatam, when you do the devotional service, then dadami buddhi, I will give you the intelligence. That is how Paramatma responds to us. Right? So here, for Bilva Mangala Thakura is telling, when I do my devotion, that Lord, youthful Lord, the Paramatma, he manifests in my heart. Then the mukti is there. When that intelligence is come, yena mam upayantito, you will come to me. The liberation is standing there to serve us. Right? And then Dharma, Artha, Kama, they are just waiting to serve you. Krishna also says, Ananya Chintayanto Mam Ye Jana Paripashite Tesham Nityabhiyuktanam every time. Tesham Nitya, it should be Nitya. When you are doing that, Yoga Kshemam Vahamyam. Whatever you have, God will preserve, and whatever you lack, God will give you. So this is the understanding that you should have, that if a devotee focuses on serving Krishna and does not chase for material deeds, material necessity chases the devotee, unlike the maidservant chases a queen. So do not spend your time chasing for material comforts. They will come in its way. You just focus on your devotion towards your spiritual instructions of the spiritual master and devotion towards the Lord. With that, we go on to the 52, only 20 more minutes. We can do it faster. Yes, Mataji, somebody can recite. Haribol.
Arnali Mataji, you can do the verse and the translation.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna Dandavat. Hare Krishna Mataji. Dandavat pranams. Brahmana vacha katvam kashyasi kovayam sayano yasa sochasi janasi kim sakhayam mam yanagre vichacharthaha. Translation by His Divine Grace, Sri A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. The Brahmana inquired as follows: Who are you? Whose wife or whose daughter are you? Who is the man lying here? It appears you are lamenting for his dead body. Don't you recognize me? I am your eternal friend. You may remember that many times in the past you have consulted me. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. The purport. Somebody can read it
Sudha
fast.
Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji Dandat Pranam. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. When a person's relative dies, renunciation is automatically visible. Consultation with the super soul seated within everyone's heart is possible only when one is completely free from the contamination of material attachment. One who is sincere and pure gets an opportunity to consult with the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his Paramatma feature sitting within everyone's heart. The Paramatma is always the Chaitya Guru, the spiritual master within, and he comes before one externally as the instructor and initiator, spiritual master. The Lord can reside within the heart and he can also come out before a person and give him instructions. Thus, the spiritual master is not different from the super soul sitting within the heart. An uncontaminated soul or living entity can get a chance to meet the Paramatma face to face. Just as one gets a chance to consult with the Paramatma within his heart, one also gets a chance to see him actually situated before him. Then one can take instructions from the Supersoul directly. This is the duty of the pure devotee to see the bona fide spiritual master and consult with the Supersoul within the heart. When the Brahmana asked the woman who the man lying on the floor was, she answered that he was her spiritual master and that she was perplexed about what to do in his absence. At such a time, the super soul immediately appears, provided the devotee is purified in heart by following the directions of the spiritual master. A sincere devotee who follows the instructions of the spiritual master certainly gets direct instructions from his heart, from the super soul. Thus, a sincere devotee is always helped directly or indirectly by the spiritual master and the super soul. This is confirmed in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Beach. If the devotee serves the spiritual master sincerely, Krishna automatically becomes pleased. Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasada. By satisfying the spiritual master, one automatically satisfies Krishna. Thus, the devotee becomes enriched by both the spiritual master and Krishna. The super soul is eternally the friend of the living entity and always remains with him. The super soul has always been ready to help the living entity even before the creation of this material world. It is therefore stated here, Yenagre Vichacharta. The word agre means before the creation. Thus, the super soul has been accompanying the living entity since before the creation. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So here you say that the Guru gives instruction. This is that you have to do. Right? Prabhupada was given instruction by his Guru. You go to the West and spread Krishna consciousness. Then it is the Paramatma who gives the guidance, how to do it. That intelligence of yours, that instruction is given to me. How do I, do it? How do I put it in action? That intelligence which help us to do, that guidance is given by the Paramatma who is sitting in our heart. And thus, it is the Paramatma who is always accompanying us, ready to guide us again and again. So this is what we have to understand. So Prabhupada clearly says that when a person becomes detached, right, at the time of the death, how is a person, whatever, however he may be, but when he's about to leave the body, he may say, what I have done, there is nothing that I can take, and he takes the name of the Lord, right? That situation, that situation we should be always, that we should remain detached. What is this? Whatever is this, we are not going to take it along with us. So let us not be attached to it. Then their heart becomes clear. That type of detachment we should have when we are living in this material body. So in that purified state, then we can receive. Then only when we have that level of detachment, then the intelligence, then that understanding which Krishna gives, we can, that guidance which Krishna gives as the Chaitya Guru, we can understand. So Paramatma and the bona fide spiritual master, they are in one purpose. They are helping us to go back to Godhead. So when we follow the Guru and the Super Soul gives the instructions within, we can achieve our goal. So this is what is the understanding that comes from this verse. So in one line, we can say that Prabhupada is trying to tell us that when the material attachment loosens, then the inner clarity and access to the Paramatma, it increases. That we will understand, we will know, yeah, doing this is wrong, we should not be attached to this. Let us do this. This is will be benefit. That understanding and that acceptance will come. That is when we follow the instructions of the Guru. Spiritual master and the Paramatma, they are not separate. They are representing Krishna's guidance. Guru gives us instructions externally and Chaitya Guru gives us internally. So a sincere devotee receives both the protection and then combined is the mercy of Krishna. Guru Krishna Prasade, right? Bhakti Lata Beej. That seed of devotion is implanted within you, and then you have to help it to grow into a creeper. How? By watering it with devotion, following the instructions of the Guru, following the regulative principles, and doing our sadhana sincerely. So a sincere disciple is never left alone. Even before our creation, there is Lord who is accompanying us always. So Guru's order activates the Paramatma guidance and the devotee is never abandoned or confused. So this is, you have to develop the faith and security in the process of devotional service. Krishna is only our friend. This is what Krishna Prabhupada is wanting us to say, that Krishna's friendship is older than any friendship that we have in this material world. He will never leave us alone. It is like, the son gets angry and he wants to be independent. The father tells, okay, you go. But always the father will send one of his servant or someone else, see whether, because he knows that his son is less intelligent and he can get carried away. And there are many people who are just waiting for a chance for such people to come out. The Maya is waiting. Similarly, Krishna is also there guiding us because she doesn't want us to fall in the trap of Maya. So in one line, we can say that by sincerely following the spiritual master, the Lord devotee receives continuous guidance from the Paramatma and who is our eternal friend and is accompanying us ever since the creation or even before the creation. So 53rd verse.
Sumangala Mataji, would you like to read the verse and the
Yes,
translation?
Anything, Mataji. Shloka, shall I read, Mataji? Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji,
Yes,
you can read
Mataji,
the
verse
verse.
and translation.
Thank you, Mataji. Api smarasi cha atmanam avignata sakham sakhe hitva mam padam anvichan bhauma bhoga rato gataha. Hare Krishna. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. The Brahmana continued, my dear friend, even though you cannot immediately recognize me, can't you remember that in the past you had a very intimate friend? Unfortunately, you gave up my company and accepted a position as enjoyer of this material world. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Sharmila Mataji, you can read the purport.
Hare Krishna. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita 7.27, Ichcha Dvesha Samuttena Dvandva Mohena Bharata Sarva Bhutani Sammoham Sarge Yanti Parantapa. O scion of Bharata Arjuna, O conqueror of the foe, all living entities are born into delusion. Overcome the dualities of desire and hate. This is an explanation of how the living entity falls down into this material world. In the spiritual world, there is no duality, nor is there hate. The Supreme Personality of Godhead expands himself into many in order to enjoy bliss more and more. The Supreme Lord expands himself in different categories As mentioned in the Varaha Purana, he expands himself in Vishnu Tattva, the Swamsha expansion, and in his marginal potency, the Vibhinnamsha or the living entity. These expanded living entities are innumerable, just as the minute molecule of sunshine are innumerable expansions of the sun. The Vibhinnamsha expansions, the marginal potencies of the Lord, are the living entities. When the living entities desire to enjoy themselves, they develop a consciousness of duality and come to hate the service of the Lord. In this way, the living entities fall into the material world. In the Prema Vaivarta, it is said, Krishna Bahirmuka Hana Bhoga Vancha Kare, Nikatastha Maya Tare, Japatiya Dhare. The natural position of the living entity is to serve the Lord in a transcendental loving attitude. When the living entity wants to become Krishna himself or imitate Krishna, he falls down into the material world. Since Krishna is the Supreme Father, his affection for the living entity is eternal. When the living entity falls down into the material world, the Supreme Lord, through his Swamsha expansion, Paramatma, keeps company with the living entity. In this way, the living entity may someday return home back to Godhead. I think Krishna, my Sita Mataji can continue. She has raised her hand. Is that okay?
Yes. Yeah, no problem, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Kripa Mai Mataji, you can continue. Or else you may continue, Mataji.
By misindependence,
By
the living
misusing
entity
his...
falls. By misusing his independence, the living entity falls down from the service of the Lord and takes a position in this material world as an enjoyer. That is to say, the living entity takes his position within a material body. Wanting to take a very exalted position, the living entity instead of becomes entangled in the repetition of birth and death. He selects his position as a human being, a demigod, a cat, a dog, a tree, etc. In this way, the living entity selects a body out of 84 lakhs forms and tries to satisfy himself by a variety of material enjoyment. The super soul, however, does not like him to do this. Consequently, the super soul instructs him to surrender to the Supreme Personality of God. The Lord then takes charge of the living entity. But unless the living entity is uncontaminated by material desires, he cannot surrender to the Supreme Lord. In Bhagavad Gita 5.29, the Lord says, Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam Sarvaloga Magesharam Sugradam Sarva Bhudanam Jnatva Mam Santivam Vichati. The sages, knowing me as the ultimate purpose of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attain peace from the pangs of material miseries. The supreme lord is the supreme friend of everyone. However, no one can take advantage of the supreme friend's instructions while making his own plans to become happy and entangling himself in the modes of material nature. When there is creation, the living entity takes different forms according to his past desires. This means that all the species or forms of life are simultaneously created. Darwin's theory stating that no human being exists from the beginning, but that humans evolved after many, many years is simply nonsensical theory. From the Vedic literature, we find that the first creature within the universe is Lord Brahma. Being the most intelligent personality, Lord Brahma could take charge of creating all the variety found within this material world.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much. So the summary is that the Brahmana, the super soul, is telling King Puranjana, the conditioned soul, that you may not recognize me now, but I am your eternal friend. In the past also you were close to me, but you left my association and tried to enjoy this material world independently only because of two reasons, that is Icha and Dvesha. What was our desire? We wanted to lord over. That is why we developed hatred towards Krishna, right? And these are the two reasons for our fall down. So Prabhupada says that he is explaining that why a soul falls into this material world. It is because of this duality. The living entity is actually a Vibhinamsha. He misuses. Why he desires? Because he has been given an intelligence. Otherwise, you will feel like a slave, right? So God has given us a minute free will. He has given us a free will, and that free will we are misusing. He wants to. He is desiring that let me be the Lord. Let me enjoy separately from Krishna. And as soon as he turns away, Bahirmukha, he is captured by Maya. So when the soul turns away from Krishna, there is Maya who is waiting to capture him. So what is the role of a super soul? Even after the soul falls, Krishna does not. Krishna is there with him, waiting. Once you look at me. And he accompanies the living entity every lifetime, right? And he keeps reminding the soul to return back, but the soul should understand that the instruction. And so here also we see that Vidarbhi, she was serving, her husband was a guru, right? She was serving her guru and he was a great devotee. Thus serving him, she got, and that is when the Paramatma came and gave her the instruction. So similarly, we should also follow. The soul chooses that, if we do not follow, we feel that fulfilling our desires, we know we should understand there are 84, there is not one and two, there are 84 lakh species. This is how the evolution, we have to undergo each of the lifespan of each species, which can be in years and years together. For example, a tree, there are so many trees that are there for years together. We do not get depression. So what is the real happiness that is mentioned over here? That when we become free from the material desire and surrender to Krishna, that is the real happiness. Krishna is the only our well-wisher and our friend. That is what, and there in Bhagavad Gita 5.2.9 and say that only when you surrender to him, Shantim Richati, that is the formula for peace that is given in Bhagavad Gita. And Prabhupada is refuting the Darwin's principle, right? Where it says that all species are created simultaneously according to the no. You have to evolve. Brahma is the first living being. He is created at the beginning and not after evolution. So why do we forget? It is because of hatred and our desire we fall down. That is what we have to understand. So soul is eternally connected to Krishna. So Krishna is accompanying us always, but it is only we should be ready to accept his instruction. So we have to surrender. That is the only solution. Material plans, desires, ego will keep us entangled. So when we surrender, then our desire becomes pure, because then our desire is to make Krishna happy. So accordingly, all our activities get purified. Have faith in our Vedic conclusion rather than the speculation. So just an understanding in a flow, we were originally with Krishna. We are as Vibhinnamshas. But it is because only out of our desire that we wanted to enjoy separately from Krishna, we fell down into this material world. And this in material world, there was Maya who captured us, and thus our desire for material gratification, it became more and more, and thus we kept changing our body in one form to the another form. But Krishna does not. Even in all the forms, Krishna is there as Paramatma within us. He is constantly guiding us. But when we purify our desire and surrender, he will personally comes us and takes us to the spiritual world. So human life is a golden opportunity to remember. In no other species you will get this remembrance. Only in the human species we have get this remembrance, and so do not waste this human life in material enjoyment. Just as now we see within next month is Sankrant, right? What does Sankrant signifies? Every festival is there. It is celebrated. We have to remember him. It is
Farmers.
just
Harvest, Mataji, harvesting.
Harvesting. Right? How do we get that
What we
yield?
receive, what we have received, we offer it to the Lord, Mataji. Is it like that,
Yes.
Mataji?
There is one activity of flying kite also during Sankrant, right?
Yes, Mataji, Makara Sankranti. So that
Yeah,
is.
Makara Sankranti. Why do they fly kite? What does it signify? What is the literal meaning? the kite is just like a soul, you know. It is so, as long as it is attached to that thread, it will soar high and high. The moment you cut it, right? What happens to the kite? It will dangle here and there, here and there. Eventually, it will come down and it will fall. Similarly, we are the soul. As long as it is connected to Krishna, we will soar high up and we will reach our goal. But the moment, you know, that is cut, we turn our face from Krishna, we will take up. N number of species are there. 84,000, whichever we want, we can be in that body and we can undergo birth and death and miseries in our life. So this is so every festival when it comes, we should go to the depth and understand what does it signify. There is a takeaway lesson in every festival. It is not just, yes, celebration is required, but also the understanding, the spiritual understanding should also be there. Okay, so let us be connected to Krishna so that we also soar high and go back to Godhead. This is the understanding. So we understand how Puranjana was guided by Narad Muni. Prachina Bari was guided by Narad Muni by giving him the examples of Puranjana, how Puranjana engaged in material activity, it resulted in his death, and then later on he got a body which he was thinking about at the time of the death, and then this body had an opportunity to associate with a devotee, and because she associated with the devotee, she got the intelligence, and then further we will see how the liberation happened. So this is what we have to understand from these verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna, Hare Bol. So is there any questions, or is there anybody who would like to share in? Yes, Mataji, Sumangala Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Wonderful
Hare Krishna,
class,
Mataji.
Mataji. Thank you so much, Mataji. Mataji, as we before came into Krishna consciousness, we could understand that it was the role of the Chaitya Guru who was seated in our hearts. So,
Somewhere, yes, Mataji, yes.
So, Mataji, and after taking the Diksha, like we sometimes feel that absence, Mataji, of guiding. So, what must be the reason, Mataji? Like, I don't know, Mataji. I'm going through.
There is still that urge of
Mataji, that guidance, Mataji. Somehow we feel that connection is lost with Krishna, but what must be the reason, Mataji? Like,
why you are feeling that you are lost, right? See,
yes,
then,
Mataji.
see, that is also, you should consider it as, when we feel that we are lost, then again we will have the desire to associate more and learn more, right?
Yes, Mataji.
Once you have come into this, there is no downfall, Mataji. So even that feeling is there. It is only to come more closer, right? Difficulties, these are like on a road also, when you are traveling, that there are bumps, right? That bumps will be there, so that if you are not careful, we will our car will just bump into it, and then there will be turbulence, right? And then we realize, and so next time when there is a bump, we will go slowly, we will go, and then so like that there will be so there will be something which will that will only help us to associate more and come more closer, and more devotion and more loyalty and more faith.
Hare Krishna. Mataji, is my understanding correct that even after Diksha also that Chaitya Guru keeps, instructing us,
Yes,
guiding us? Because
that
in the
is,
purport
yes.
I could understand.
Yeah, Chaitya
Yes,
Guru
Mataji.
coming is that intelligence which is helping us to solve all our doubts, clearing it. And then again and again, the faith is increasing. The guidance
Mataji,
which we are getting.
actually, after Diksha, we should be completely surrendering to the Guru, no, Mataji? Like, only
Guru is also
focusing.
Krishna's instruction, right? What Guru, that is what it is said, right? The instruction which Guru is telling is also Krishna's instruction. He will not tell anything of his own.
Yes, Mataji. But my question is that, Mataji, like I'm so much connected to Krishna. Connected in the sense I just run towards Krishna only, Mataji. That suddenly that thought doesn't come, Mataji. Guru, Guru. So I keep on I mean, I'm like that, Mataji. So whatever happens, I just think of remembering Krishna. Krishna, it comes, Mataji. Like I do not go and fall to the feet of Guru and beg. Only later I know that, oh, I've taken Diksha, I should be submissive to the Guru first. So it is like that.
Yes,
So,
yes, Mataji. See, it is because the Guru guided that for everything you have to go to Krishna. In a way, you are actually following the instruction of Krishna, that you are depending on Krishna,
but
isn't
Krishna
it?
doesn't like, don't you should not serve me directly. Rather, you should come through my bona fide spiritual
Yes,
master.
Mataji.
From
The who is that? Who has guided you to depend on Krishna?
Prabhupada
You are
and
not
Guru Maharaj.
depending. You are not depending on anyone, right? For your problems or anything, correct?
No, Mataji.
You are depending on Krishna only. So that also instruction Guru had given you, and that is why you are depending on Krishna for everything.
Okay. Okay, Mataji.
So
Hare Krishna.
in
So
a
there
way,
is
you are
no
serving
wrong
his
in that,
instruction.
Mataji.
In a way, you are following his instruction, right? Depending on Krishna, serving Krishna, for offering. When you offer, you cannot offer directly, right? When you're saying the prayers and offering the food, you're actually taking the blessings of the Guru, and then you are going. But only thing is, you should change your thoughts that I'm doing directly. No, you should understand that whatever the process given by Srila Prabhupada is, it is always through a Guru and then to the Krishna. So when
Yes,
you're following
Mataji.
what is given by this society, then you should remember that it is not going. You are not doing directly. You are following the instructions, and then you are doing it.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
It's
Hare
very much
Krishna.
helpful. Hare Krishna.
Very good. If you are done, if there is anything anybody would like to share,
So Hare Krishna,
or
Mataji.
else Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Today's class is so wonderful, Mataji. Eye opener so much. And the way you explained, Mataji, it was simply superb.
All
Thank
the
you,
mercy
Mataji.
of Guru and Gauranga, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Dandavat
True,
pranam.
Mataji.
Whatever we say, it is only the mercy of our Guru. Otherwise, we cannot say a word. Hare Krishna. So, who is the coordinator for this
Aishwarya
session?
Mataji.
Mataji,
Aishwarya Mataji. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
yes, Mataji.
Mataji, if there is no question, if anybody wants to share, they can share, or else we can
We can
end
end
the
the
session.
session. Yes, Mataji, we can end the
Mataji, we'll
session.
say Vaishnava Pranam.
Vancha
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव पतितानां
पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो
Namaste.
अनन्तकोटिवर्षकोटि पाद ग्रंथ श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय माता जी हरे कृष्णा
Glory to you, Mataji. Glory to us.
Thank you,
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Mataji. Thank you so much,
Thank you so
Mataji.
much for
Mataji,
Thank you so
everybody.
much,
Thanks for the
Mataji. Hare
association.
Krishna. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Krishna.
Mataji, with your
Blessings,
permission, I'll
Mataji.
end the meeting, Mataji. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Mataji. Thank you.